edition of the Dan O'Donnell Show with my favorite type of topic. One in which I get to tell you, I told you so. What did I tell you the biggest battle in the month of August was going to be? It wasn't going to be the partisan primary. It was going to be whether RFK Jr. and the Green Party are allowed on Wisconsin's presidential ballot. Lo and behold, the party that is just oozing joy and confidence and believes that it can't possibly lose to Donald Trump is now trying to get Jill Stein off the Wisconsin ballot. Will the Wisconsin Elections Commission, for a second straight presidential election, break its own rules plus Wisconsin law to do so? Apparently, we shall see. Welcome in. I am Dan O'Donnell. If you would like to join us, 414-799-1130 is the adventknows.com talk and text line. You can reach me toll free, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com. Watch the show streaming live. The Dan O'Cam is rolling on X at Dan O'Donnell Show. Please do give us a follow. Repost the live stream. Spread the word of Dan Nation. Facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show. We are also streaming. Please do share. Follow us on Facebook if you're not already. And on YouTube, as the kids say, like and subscribe. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. And of course, follow the show, The Dan O'Donnell Show, on iHeartRadio so you don't miss a single podcast episode. iHeartRadio Music Festival Flyaway Contest. The word this hour, music. M-U-S-I-C, music. You have got until 55 past the hour to go to our website and rather text the word music to 200-200. You could win a trip for two to the iHeartRadio Music Festival in Las Vegas, September 20th and 21st, plus $1,000 included. Round trip airfare for two nights hotel stay, ground transportation, tickets to both nights of the festival, and $1,000 gift card. If you enter this contest, you will get a confirmation text and information. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. Last night, an employee of the Democratic National Committee filed a complaint seeking to remove the Green Party's presidential candidate from the ballot in Wisconsin, arguing that the party is ineligible. Democrats are also seeking to stop independent Robert F. Kennedy Jr. in several states. The Green Party's appearance on the presidential ballot, according to the Associated Press, could make a difference in swing state Wisconsin, where 4 of the past 6 presidential elections have been decided by between 5,700 votes and about 23,000 votes. Jill Stein is expected to officially become the Green Party's presidential nominee at its national convention, which begins today. The Associated Press left email messages with the Green Party and Stein's campaign Wednesday afternoon. The last time Stein was on the ballot in Wisconsin for the Green Party was in 2016, when she got just over 31,000 votes, more than Donald Trump's winning margin that year of just under 23,000 votes. Some Democrats blamed Stein for helping Trump win the state and the presidency. That from Scott Bauer of the Associated Press. In fact, there were about maybe 3 or 4 days, maybe a week or so, where Democrats were actually honest with themselves about why they lost in 2016. First of all, it's very difficult for one party to win the presidency 3 straight election cycles. After 8 years of Barack Obama and Obamonomics, the jobless recovery, the health care plan that didn't actually reduce health care costs, you notice that, 15 years after Obamacare, Democrats are still complaining that healthcare prices are way too high. We have got to do something about healthcare costs. They are wait a second. Nearly a generation ago, I thought you guys fixed that. Wasn't that the whole point of Obamacare, was to get costs under control? How is it that costs are way higher? So weird. It's almost like Soviet-style policies increase costs for everybody. And wouldn't you know it, the very first concrete policy proposal out of Kamala Harris's mouth is literal Soviet-style price fixing. We'll get into that later on in the show. But Democrats don't want to take any chances that, a Democratic election might produce a candidate that isn't theirs. So they, again, are resorting to Soviet-style election tactics. Just take candidates off the ballot who you think might actually cost your campaign. In 2016, for, again, maybe up to a week, Democrats were honest with themselves. Hey, maybe the fundamentals of this election really favored Republicans. The only time in recent memory since World War II that the same party has won the presidency 3 straight times was the very phenomenally popular Ronald Reagan and then his vice president, George H.W. Bush. Incidentally, producer Dave, we were talking about polls and how accurate or inaccurate they are in August. Went back and looked at the 1988 presidential election. At this exact moment, mid-August 1988, George H.W. Bush was trailing Michael Dukakis by 17 points. Suffice it to say, things change. We'll go deeper into the Democrat response bias in August, which I think is artificially inflating Kamala Harris's polls, coming up again later in the show. When Democrats were honest with themselves, they said, okay, it's very difficult to win the presidency 3 straight times. Okay, Hillary Clinton was not particularly likable. Okay, our policies clearly aren't resonating with everyday Americans. And hey, look at Wisconsin. I think Jill Stein might have actually cost Hillary Clinton Wisconsin. Do you remember that there was a recount in 2016 in Wisconsin? Last 2 presidential elections, we've actually had recounts because they were so close. Do you know who initiated the 2016 recount? Wasn't Hillary Clinton, wasn't the Democratic National Committee, it was Jill Stein. Do you know why? Because she realized that she was being blamed for Hillary Clinton losing not just Wisconsin, but very likely the presidency to Donald Trump. She launched the recall and was saying, look, it wasn't me, it wasn't me, it wasn't me. Then, of course, the Russia collusion narrative took over, and Democrats spent the next 3 years pushing literal disinformation and claiming a stolen election, which they later criminalized following 2020. Donald Trump was actually criminally charged with questioning the results of an election, after Democrats spent the previous 3 years questioning the results of the 2016 presidential election. It was clear, though, Jill Stein, who drew votes almost entirely from the political left, really did cost Hillary Clinton Wisconsin. Hillary Clinton never visiting Wisconsin during the general election probably had something to do with that. And because so many people just couldn't bring themselves to vote for Hillary, so many people just disliked Hillary, that you had 23,000 of them, 31,000 actually, voted for Jill Stein when the margin of victory for Donald Trump was just 23,000. You can see what Democrats thought was the real threat. In 2020, they were taking no such chances. Stein was not the nominee, but it was a man by the name of Howie Hawkins and his running mate Angela Walker, who happened to be from Milwaukee. Democrats actually challenged Angela Walker's nomination papers because of a change of address. She moved during the course of when the nomination papers were circulated. Democrats actually challenged the placement on the ballot because of that. Now they're doing something totally different. They're challenging on the basis of, well, they don't have presidential electors. Now, this was something that nobody thought of in 2016. 2020, they're challenging her residence listed on the ballot nomination signatures. The Wisconsin Election Commission, in hearing that complaint, actually violated the law by essentially shifting the burden of proof and essentially not allowing the Green Party to argue its case. They did the exact same thing with Kanye West. You remember Yeezy ran for president in 2020, and it was feared that he was going to take votes away, just like the Green Party, from Joe Biden. The Wisconsin Election Commission actually rejected Kanye's appearance on the Wisconsin ballot. Now, nobody thought Kanye was going to get even as many votes as the Green Party, but there might have been just enough protest votes because there were what are known as the double haters, people who hated both Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump in 2016 and Biden and Trump in 2020, who had cast essentially a joke vote for Kanye West. Maybe they're a fan of his music, maybe they're a fan of his ridiculous shoes. I'm sorry, the Yeezys, the sandal type things that look like they're some weird spaceman shoes. Ugly, 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 ugly. I actually had to walk past a pair today. My oldest son had some of his friends sleep over, and one of them's got the Yeezys. And I knew I was going to talk about Kanye West, and I kind of like, man, those shoes really are ugly. I mean, kudos to him for building a $1 billion fashion empire, which was then taken away from him for blatant anti-Semitism, but building a fashion empire on the basis of really, truly ugly, hideous shoes. Nonetheless, Kanye West's attorney, his campaign's guy, shows up at the Wisconsin Elections Commission office on the day that nomination signatures were due, right? They locked him out of the building. He's pounding on the door. He's desperately trying to get in the building. Finally, they let him in. Now, the deadline is 5:00 p.m. You have to get the signatures into the Wisconsin Elections Office by the date that was specified, 5:00 p.m. Okay? He finally gets in. They finally let him in, and he's sprinting up the stairs, and he throws down the nomination signatures at exactly 5 minutes, and I think it was 5 minutes and 30 seconds. Okay? 5:00 and 30 seconds. Is that after 5:00? Or is that at 5:00? So the deadline is 5:00 on Friday, whatever the date was, like August 19th, let's just say. Is the deadline 5:00 or after 5:00, which is 5:01? I would argue once you have hit 5:00, you're still good, right? I got there by 5:00. Clock says 5:00. They said, nope. Essentially, this was like the old Seinfeld Bubble Boy skit. The card says moops. The clock says 5:00 and 35 seconds. Sorry, Kanye, you're out. They essentially invented any reasonable reading of 5:00. You have until 5:00. You've got 5:00. 5:01, you're too late. You have got a 1 minute grace period where it is 5:00, where you get to, otherwise the deadline would be 4:59, right? They essentially invented ways to keep the Green Party off the ballot, and guess what? It worked. Without third-party options like Hawkins and Yeezy, Joe Biden won by about 20,000 votes. I had said, really since last year, before that, actually, we were looking forward as we were reporting on this as it happened, saying, look, they are going to keep on inventing ways to keep third-party candidates off the ballot. What does this, however, tell you? A, about the Green Party, which is obviously going to take votes away from Kamala, but also about RFK Jr. Now, I have not heard about any effort to keep RFK off the ballot here in Wisconsin, and frankly, I'm skeptical that RFK is only going to pull Democrats. In fact, my worry is that seeing as RFK for the last year and a half has pretty much gone on every conservative podcast, he's been frozen out of liberal media because of the fear that he would be the spoiler in this election and tip the scales to Donald Trump, that he's been appealing to conservative audiences. He's been appealing to the more libertarian wing, the anti-vax wing, and really, he's only a conservative on one issue. Okay, he's okay on the border. He recognizes the need to not have, 10 million people invade this country in a very short period of time. So on two issues, he's conservative, but those are two issues that are very, very near and dear to a whole lot of people's hearts. So it's my fear that he's going to essentially take evenly from Trump and Kamala. And in fact, I fear that more people vote third party when they can't stand the other options, or if the bandwagon effect is there and they believe that their candidate is going to lose. Folks, I can't tell you how much the bandwagon effect does play into impacting people's votes. Nobody wants to back a loser, right? That's why there are not too many fans of the Cleveland Browns, right? If you're outside of Cleveland, someone in a state with if you're in Nebraska, okay, and you don't have an NFL team, you're more likely to pick the Packers than the Cleveland Browns, right? Even Browns fans in Cleveland, what are they known for? What are Browns fans known for wearing? Not the dog pound. They're known for wearing paper bags over their heads, okay? Like, you don't get a whole lot of bandwagon Cleveland Browns fans. And the same thing happens in politics. People want to support winners. People like to be associated with winning. It's one of the reasons that Trump came out of the gate so strong. What was he saying? We are going to win again. I am going to fight. I am going to win. It is a very powerful thing. When so many Democrats were convinced that Biden was going to lose, there was no chance he was going to win, you'll notice that RFK Jr.'s poll numbers were way higher. Now, a part of this is just people early on will flirt with third-party candidates, and then eventually most people will say, okay, well, my vote essentially, it's going to count. It's going to register largely as a protest vote, but if I want my basic philosophy, conservatism or liberalism to win, I've got to vote for either the Republican or the Democrat. You had a whole lot of RFK voters coming from the left because they didn't want to associate with Joe Biden. They're not dogmatic liberals. They're that great squishy middle. But the bandwagon effect had an effect on them. And they said, well, I didn't vote for Biden. I voted for RFK Jr. Believe it or not, there is a small percentage of people who think like that. This also, believe it or not, causes people to switch their votes from, say, Trump to Kamala. This is also why it has been so incumbent upon the liberal media to create this idea that Kamala is, oh my gosh, she's unstoppable, and Kamala-mentum, and oh my goodness, Trump is running scared. He has no idea what to do. Excuse me, Trump is in a far better position this election cycle, even after 3 weeks of Kamala polling and the biggest sugar high for Democrats in the history of modern American politics. They went from, we are going to lose. We are going to lose 55 seats in the Senate. And Republicans are going to get 55, 56 seats. We're going to lose the House. We're going to have a 40-seat majority for Republicans. Of course, we're going to lose the presidency. It's over. It's done. To, oh my God, we have a chance. And the media all the while refusing to report on anything substantive coming from Kamala's record or out of her mouth and focusing instead on vibes. That's all by design to set up the bandwagon effect. They want everybody in the world hopping on Kamala's bandwagon. They're hopping off RFK. They're hopping off Jill Stein. But what this move tells me is that they're still concerned that Wisconsin, and remember, Wisconsin is supposedly getting out of reach for Donald Trump. If Kamala is really up 4 or 5 points in Wisconsin, does it really matter if there are 23,000 Jill Stein votes out there? No. They see this as being every bit as close as it has been in 2020 and 2016, and they see this as an election that Trump absolutely can win. Now the question is going to be, will the Wisconsin Elections Commission give Kamala the boost that they gave Joe Biden? My position would be it is going to be an even bigger boost. My guess is if they can figure out a way to do it, they'll try to get RFK off the ballot. They'll try to get Jill Stein off the ballot. They'll try to get Cornel West off the ballot. You'll notice anything that could possibly come in the way of Kamala having to actually run a competitive race, having to actually convince voters based on policy, the Democrats just are not going to allow. When we come back, we will have more on this, plus Kamala's very first policy proposal, Soviet-style price controls. No, I'm not kidding.
Keep in touch with Dan on Twitter at Dan O'Donnell Show. More of the show next.
Win your way to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One. September 20th and 21st.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Keep listening for your next chance to be there.
Audible is a proud partner of the 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival. Explore the best selection of audiobooks, plus podcasts and originals, all in one easy app. Audible, there's more to imagine when you listen. Sign up for a free trial at audible.com.
Dan O'Donnell here for the Lynch family of dealerships. This week only, push, pull, or drag in your trade and save with a $5,100 minimum discount on all in-stock used and select new vehicles. They want your trade. Got a rust bucket, they'll take it. An old beater, they need her. So bring her to Lynch Chevrolet of Kenosha on Highway 50 or the Lynch GM Superstore on Highway 36 in Burlington. Lynch McWanago right off of I-43. The all-new Lynch Ford of McWanago on Main Street or Lynch Buick GMC of West Bend on Main Street. A $5,100 minimum discount on all in-stock used and select new vehicles at any of the Lynch family of dealerships. Just off I-94 and Highway 50 in Kenosha, a short ride down Highway 36 in Burlington, right off I-43 on Main Street in McWanago or Main Street in West Bend. Push, pull, or drag in your trade and find new roads at shoplynch.com.
Nobody sells for less than Lynch.
Missed By the Yard at the fair this year? You can still shop and save at By the Yard showroom in Oconomowoc and online at buytheyard.net. By the Yard outdoor furniture is maintenance-free with a 35-year warranty. Visit buytheyard.net for details.
Want to make your yard the envy of the neighborhood? Tune in to Brett Octon-Hagen's Seasonal Services Designer Yard Show to learn landscaping secrets. Visit seasonalservices.com and listen on News Talk 1130 WISN, Saturdays at 1 p.m.
Small business owners, we know tackling your to-do list can sometimes feel like going 12 rounds against a heavyweight champ. Except that heavyweight's gloves are made of something hard, like diamonds. So when a new to-do pops up, you're like, I can't. I'm boxing my diamond boxing glove-wearing heavyweight champ of a to-do list. At Progressive, we don't want to make your day any harder. That's why we make it easy with over 30 customizable coverage options, so you can finally land a knockout blow. See if you can save on business insurance in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers.
The best things in life, they come in twos. 2 scoops of ice cream, 2 tacos. And now for a limited time, get our best deal of the year. Buy any phone when you switch to Consumer Cellular and get 2 months of service free. That's right, the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage as Big Wireless, now with 2 months free. Proof the best things in life really do come in twos. Visit consumercellular.com or call 1-888-FREEDOM. Second and third month of monthly base service fee waived for new customers with the purchase of a phone and activation by September 2nd, 2024. Taxes, fees, and third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Be greeted by an owner at America's largest employee-owned jewelry store.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Appropriate bumper music here on the Dan O'Donnell Show. It sounds vaguely Soviet, doesn't it? But put that up, producer Dave. This is E.S. Posthumous in the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music rotation. Appropriate because Kamala Harris has finally introduced, or at least she's going to in a big speech tomorrow, but her team has introduced her very first concrete policy proposal. Now, we are almost 4 weeks into Kamala's presidential candidacy. She has yet to answer a single question from a single reporter in a single sit-down or press conference setting, which to me is almost unfathomable, but not particularly surprising, given the most corrupt industry in the United States of America, the national press. Can you think of a more corrupt industry? Okay, besides the government, Dave immediately said I meant industry, like something that produces something. The mafia? Yeah, okay. Yeah, the mafia and the national press. Sort of working in concert. What did Rush used to call them? The drive-by media? Very mafia-esque. They will work. Look, they worked behind the scenes with their Democrat overlords to put the hit on Uncle Junior, Joe Biden. They took him out. They installed the underboss, Tony Soprano, as the new head of the family, Kamala Harris. So I think the comparison is apt. National media is easily the most corrupt major institution in the United States. It is not demanding that Kamala answer questions. It is not immediately poking holes in her literal Soviet-style price-fixing proposal. She is going to count on the media going along with this ridiculous notion that the result, or rather the impact, the cause of inflation has been corporate greed. Corporate greed. McDonald's, really big fast food, really wants to charge you $11 for a Big Mac, when Hardee's could simply undercut them by charging $6 for a similar sandwich and cut into McDonald's. They fundamentally do not understand how market economics works. They don't understand that consumers have nearly limitless choices and can shop around. If a company is price gouging in an open market, now I'm not going to say price gouging does happen in closed markets like, say, natural disaster where you have no choice but to buy water. Price gouging is illegal. You can't do that because we understand a limited market produces limited choices. Kamala is apparently going to unveil a program where she is going to, remember, she's running against her own economy. So she's going to say, okay, we're going to say it wasn't my fault. It was those greedy corporations. And of course, the corrupt corporations that run national news media are going to go right along with us. Oh, yeah. It's really Walmart's fault. It wasn't the fact that we had utterly feckless and utterly reckless fiscal policy at the outset of the Biden-Harris administration, in which there was a war on fossil fuels, which had a disparate impact, to borrow a phrase the left loves, on the price of diesel, which immediately jacked up the cost of shipping for every company that has to get goods from point A to point B. Any company that relies on trucking immediately had to raise their prices or cut workers or do something, anything, in order to account for the increased cost. At the exact same time, they were flooding the market. They were flooding the economy with dollars. It was the old Milton Friedman helicopter example. The conservative economist said, imagine a helicopter above a town. That helicopter drops $100,000 in $5 and $10 bills on the town. As soon as the townspeople spend that money because of the helicopter drop, prices are going to go up. Well, the Biden-Harris administration helicopter dropped $1,400 on everybody. At the exact same time, they were expanding unemployment. They were allowing people to not go back to work, causing a massive supply chain crunch, which, guess what, pushed prices even further. You had hyperinflation. The Soviet Union was dealing with that from about 1917 to 1923. The Bolsheviks responded by fixing prices. They were blaming the greedy corporations, the greedy merchants. Guess what happened? What was the Soviet Union sort of known for? Food shortages, right? How did Stalin deal with all of those starving Russians? Well, he had a novel solution. He either let them starve or just kind of summarily killed them. It's interesting, isn't it? We always talk about how evil Hitler was. He executed 6 million Jews, which on the scale of evil is probably like a 25 on a scale of 1 to 10, right? Stalin killed 100 million people by most reasonable estimates. Kamala is now saying, yeah, man, we should totally follow this guy's lead. This guy knows the score. Let's follow his lead on getting inflation down. We'll get into that in more depth when the Dan O'Donnell Show returns after this.
I was stuffed up. It was almost like someone put a clothespin over my nose. As an athlete, it did affect my performance. And as I got older, the congestion and poor sleep, really took their toll.
Mike's a lifetime athlete. After hearing about Advent, he felt he could finally find a solution to his breathing triangle problems.
With my congestion, the kind of sleep I was getting wasn't allowing me to function the way I wanted to.
When your nose isn't working like it should be, it's going to negatively affect your sleep. And then you really can't be at your best at anything that you're doing.
It's been about 5 years since coming to Advent. And what balloon sinuplasty did for my quality of life, that step I took was one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Balloon sinuplasty can help solve your breathing triangle problems, which will help you sleep better. And that's going to help you live a better quality of life.
Unlock your potential. Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment, because when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
Our home sure feels empty now that the kids are gone. Maybe it's time to start thinking about a new home in a size that fits our life. With Belinsky Condos, we'll get peace of mind without sacrificing amenities. Plus, accessibility features like the no-step garage entry and wide hallways allow us to live comfortably today and 10 years from now. Visit Belinsky.com to learn more.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm joined by Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex. And this week, Dave, we're seeing cross currents in the nation's economy. A couple of weeks ago, you had a huge one-day drop. The market has sort of clawed back, strong earnings, but still a whole lot of, I think, fear and trepidation about what's possibly next.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Unemployment rate went from 3.4 last year to 4.3. Some economists have it going as perhaps as high as 5%. So you have that going on. But at the same time, inflation has eaten away some purchasing power of consumers. So they have these two pieces going on. The other cross-current part of that is that the Fed is expected to lower rates in September. But you think about where people are and why they're concerned about this is because we have an election coming up. And they are uncertain about what could happen. You think about where the Democrats were just before Biden stepped away. They were despondent, and now they're jubilant. You think about why that is, and that's just because your side is winning or your side is losing. But people will vote, Dan, as you well know, their checkbooks. And so if the unemployment rate continues to go up, if inflation continues to eat away at purchasing power, and the stock market whips around, that will eat into people's confidence, and that might come out come November in the next 90 days.
Yeah, it is obviously worth watching because the state of the economy from August to November is definitely something that is a big predictor of how people are going to vote come November. We, of course, here like to watch it all. Politics, economics, all of it. And that's why you need to go to annexwealth.com to get a review of your portfolio. Know what you own and why you own it through a wealth metric, because whether it's news coming in, political or economical, they will have you covered. For Dave Spano, CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
Repairing sunken or uneven concrete can be easy, clean, and half the price of replacing your concrete. Contact Raise Right to fix your trip hazards, driveway, sidewalk, pool deck, and more. Concrete lifting holes are small and nearly invisible. Go to WeRaiseConcrete.com. Raise Right, the #1 concrete lifting, foundation repair, and waterproofing team for Wisconsin homeowners. WeRaiseConcrete.com. That's WeRaiseConcrete.com.
Hi, this is Leslie at Pro-Life Wisconsin. Come and see what we're doing to build a culture of life at our Love for Life Gala here in Brookfield, September 14th, with our guest speaker, Seth Dillon, CEO of the Babylon Bee. Tickets are on sale now at prolifewi.org/gala or call 262-796-1111. That's 262-796-1111. Hope to see you there.
In these crazy times, there's peace of mind in security. Security for our country, for our leaders, security for our families. You are not financially secure if all your eggs are in one basket. Gold and silver are an excellent way to diversify your savings. They're a hedge against inflation. They're a physical asset that is in high demand globally from the wealthy to central banks. Investing some portion of your savings in gold is a smart way to help protect the value of what you've saved. And through our friends at Birch Gold Group, you can own physical gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. That's right. You can diversify an old IRA or 401k for no money out of pocket into an IRA in gold and silver. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold like I do.
To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 and get a free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Again, text SECURE to the number 989898 to protect your hard-earned savings today.
iHeart's Yacht Rock Radio goes commercial-free every weekend. Enjoy the greatest 70s and 80s smooth soft rock all weekend, all commercial-free. High tide, low tide, no tide. Yacht Rock Radio works anywhere. Open the free iHeart app, search Yacht Rock, and start listening. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Liars, cheats, Democratic politicians, liberal media types. Instead, listen to this.
It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Democrats are starting to convince themselves that they've won the battle over inflation, that Kamala doesn't even need to necessarily propose her price-fixing, Soviet-style economic plan, that the battle is already won. There is a great tweet about this. It comes from just a couple of random people interacting. This woman goes, "Can someone please explain to me in crayon how inflation keeps going down, but we continue to live in the most expensive timeline of our lifetime?" Guy by the name of John Michaels says, "I used to weigh 200 pounds. In 2020, I gained 5 pounds. In 2021, I gained 11. In 2022, I gained 9. In 2023, I gained 6. But this year, I only gained 3 pounds. My weight gain is down, but now I weigh 234. We no longer have an inflation crisis in this country, at least as inflation is defined by Democrats, right? We do, however, have an affordability crisis. The Biden-Harris administration's own Bureau of Economic Analysis reports that the average American family is now paying an additional $17,080 per year. Just in inflationary costs, $17,000 per year. It's a heck of a weight gain, isn't it? That is $1,423 every single month. Break it down even further. Average family paying $328 more per week in inflationary costs, or $46.92 every single day, 365 days, or this year, 366 days per year. You are paying an extra $47 just in inflationary costs, just to afford what you used to be able to afford relatively easily under Donald Trump. This is having disastrous consequences on pretty much everybody. Most people have said that they've had to dip into their emergency savings, okay? In fact, right now, nearly half of all Americans say they couldn't afford a sudden $1,000 expense. How could they? Their emergency savings are gone, swallowed up by the $1,400 per month in inflationary costs that they now have to pay. More than 20% of Americans have no emergency savings whatsoever. Do you want to know right now what the average balance in the American savings account is? Just take a guess. $500 is remarkably close, producer David. $600. $600 in savings. Now, this doesn't count 401ks, retirement savings. I'm saying a savings account that you would keep as sort of a rainy day fund. $600, average American. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York reports that more and more Americans are going deeper and deeper into debt to afford the basic necessities. Americans now hold a record $1.14 trillion in credit card debt. Just in the past year, American credit card debt has jumped by a truly astounding $27 billion. That's not the total. The total is 1.17 trillion, Dave. 1.14 trillion, excuse me. $27 billion. By $27 billion, Americans have gone deeper into credit card debt. And I don't think I need to tell you, if you don't pay those balances on time, I still don't get how usury laws don't apply to credit card interest rates. My God. Why? We're just going to charge you 38% compounded hourly. What? Okay. Credit card delinquencies surged by 50% last year. People are struggling under the weight of inflation that is, in many cases, outpaced wage gains. This leaves them with only a couple of choices. You can either go deeper into debt, you can dip further into your savings, you can take another job, or you can go without. An all-time record, 8.4 million people now have multiple jobs. 5% of the American private sector workforce is now forced to work multiple jobs just to make ends meet. And even with that extra income, people are struggling. Real average hourly wages, meaning not just, you make $15 an hour, but what can you buy with that $15 an hour? It's what you make, factored in with inflation and cost. Real average hourly wages, real median weekly earnings, and real per capita disposable personal income all down significantly since Biden and Harris took office. By every single metric, Americans' personal economies are not doing better. Oh, sure. If you own stocks, if you own a house, the value of your home has probably exploded. The value of your stocks have clearly gone up. But I'm talking about the everyday Americans who are having to struggle whether they're going to, buy more food or they're going to be able to keep the lights on this month. Again, it's no longer an inflation crisis. Okay, we're down to 3% year over year, although if you saw the consumer price index that was released yesterday, inflation jumped 0.2% month to month, meaning inflation is still going up. Oh, it's going up at a slower rate. Well, the issue now is that things are just unaffordable unless we have a couple of years of negative inflation, which is almost certainly not going to happen. This is the new reality, folks. Biden and Harris so totally destroyed the nation's economy that people are just going to have to continue to struggle. Who are they going to blame? Big meat? Big vegetable? It's them. Their inflationary policies caused this. Everything was fine under Donald Trump. I'll give credit to Barack Obama. Everything, you could afford things under Obama. You could afford things under George W. Bush. You could afford things under Donald Trump. You can't afford things under Biden and Harris. So much so that Harris is now actually trying to distance herself from Biden's economy. And in fact, KJP, the White House press secretary, was asked about that by who else? Peter Doocy, Fox News.
When did you guys learn that Vice President Harris wants to distance herself from Bidenomics?
Why do you think that?
Axios is now reporting that she is hoping to distance herself from President Biden's unpopularity on the economy. Can you blame her?
Do you know this is the Biden-Harris administration? Are you aware that this is the Biden-Harris administration? And she is indeed the vice president.
But if the president's policies on the economy were working, or if they were popular, wouldn't he still be the candidate?
You literally just had the chair of the CEA here who laid out a pretty robust point by point about the economy and what's has happened under the Biden-Harris administration. And I thought it was pretty convincing.
Yeah, pretty convincing that you ruined everything, so much so that the vice vice president is essentially running against her own economic policies. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show, and we will name the unhinged liberal of the day coming up next.
A recent guest on the Dan O'Donnell Show also seems to be a fan of the program.
You're a good man, and because you have a very successful show. A lot of people don't get called, I will tell you. Your show is a very important show, and it's a great show, and we appreciate it.
Donald Trump, right on immigration, right on the border, right on the economy, and right on who to listen to in Milwaukee. That would be Dan O'Donnell, weekdays 9 to 11 on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
Hey, Dan O'Donnell here for my great friends at Mander Collision and Glass. Now with 6 locations to serve you, you hear me talk about how great Mander is, their work ethic, their customer service. Here's customer Hank. Took my Corvette in for a new windshield with camera in the glass. Their tech knew everything and did a great job. Everyone there was friendly and helpful. I loved the modern and very neat waiting area. Thank you, guys. Finally, even the bathroom was very clean. This is a very professional family-run business. When I need any more work done, I'm coming here. Peter, you're the best. He even brought this old man an armchair so I could sit and work on my laptop. The receptionist was very quick to say hello and knew everything about my job. Thank you. No, thank you, Hank, for reminding me and everyone about the Mander difference. Start your repair today at mandercollision.com. That's mandercollision.com.
The hottest deals of the summer are going on now, exclusively at the Kunis Auto Group's Dog Days of Summer sales event. Get sizzling savings on your next vehicle from the automotive pros at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealership. America's best-selling cars, trucks, and SUVs from both Buick and GMC. All marked down with incredible August Dog Days of Summer discounts and savings. We're also offering incredible Dog Days of Summer discounts on our entire inventory of select pre-owned vehicles. Choose from over 1,500 vehicles on lot and online. While online, check out dozens of August service specials on everything from brakes, tires to oil changes. Plus, in August, simply stop in and register to win a $250 monthly cash prize. Plus, chances to win a $10,000 monthly grand prize with absolutely no purchase necessary. All at your nearby Milwaukee Metro Region Kunis Auto Group dealerships in both Oak Creek and Greenfield. It's the Kunis Auto Group's August Dog Days of Summer sales event going on now. For additional event info, go to shopkunis.com.
How long have you been living with that joint pain? You're calling it an old sports injury or just old age, but you just don't have to live with it. Jay Weber here saying it took me too long to figure that out. If you're someone who's experiencing spine or musculoskeletal pain or shoulder, hip, or knee pain, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. They're the doctors and techs that I trust with my shoulder problems. I've had issues for years, and there's not enough damage to warrant surgery, so Ortho Wisconsin helps me manage the pain. Their clinicians, physicians, and surgeons are committed to providing the highest quality joint care and handle everything from simple strains and tears to sports injuries to managing degenerative diseases to complex joint replacements. In fact, Orthopedic Associates specializes in same-day total joint replacements at their ambulatory surgery center in Pewaukee, and lesser treatments like physical therapy can be done at the Pewaukee, Brookfield, and New Berlin locations. Based on my experiences, you will be impressed with Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin and their staff. You can find them at orthowisconsin.com. orthowisconsin.com. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. There is a difference.
Hey, business owners, it's Joe Breyer with Lake Country Advisors. Are you thinking about selling your business? It's a big decision, and most business owners aren't sure really where to begin. That's why at Lake Country Advisors, we offer free exit strategy consultations. Our team will meet with you in person and will discuss the value of your business and answer all your questions on how to sell your business confidentially. So contact us today by visiting LakeCountryAdvisors.com. That's Lake Country Advisors, changing the way businesses change hands.
A violent crime is committed every 24 seconds. The U.S. Concealed Carry Association exists to provide you with firearms education, training, and access to self-defense liability insurance. So when trouble comes, you'll be ready. Over 800,000 Americans trust the USCCA, and right now, there's an exclusive, limited-time offer for radio listeners. Go to defendfamily.com to get a free family defense guide, a survival secrets training video from a retired FBI agent, and see all the benefits of membership. Go to defendfamily.com now.
Summer is here, and it's time to gather with family and friends for outdoor barbecues and backyard fun. Hi, this is Eric Weishar, president of Breckenridge Landscape. Have you been thinking about a new patio for entertaining? Maybe an outdoor kitchen for weekend cookouts, or perhaps a pergola to create a nice shady spot to relax in? Let our team of landscape designers and installation craftsmen at Breckenridge Landscape create the perfect outdoor room for you. Send us a message at BreckenridgeLandscape.com and let us get started on your next landscape project.
Profound insight, piercing analysis. This is News Talk 1130 WISN.
Conservative thought, not just talk. It is the Dan O'Donnell Show. Welcome back to it. Coming up next hour, I'll be honest, I don't know what I want to talk about. Should we do talk radio roulette? What do you people want to hear me talk about? I'm kidding. I've got like 50 different topics, and one of the big problems I always have is what it is I actually want to focus on. Because what I sort of see is, you know, I've experimented with doing quick hitting topics and boom, 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 boom. But I want to get you to come away with an overarching idea of what's going on in the world of politics and the world of news today. And today, to me, the two biggest issues, three actually. One, here in Wisconsin, the Wisconsin Elections Commission is absolutely going to, at least the Democrats on it, are going to try to keep the Green Party off the ballot. Second, Kamala's ridiculous price fixing. I can't stop thinking, can we find producer Dave? I've got an assignment for you. Benjamin Applebaum of the New York Times in 2016. Look up Benjamin Applebaum and Pete Buttigieg. No, you got to guess. He's an editor at the New York Post, and he had a very, very hilarious line to Pete Buttigieg about fixing bread prices. And I'm going to go back to the graveyard of forgotten favorites. I'll spell it for you. Will you shut up in there? I don't know how to spell. What? Guess. Use AI. Benjamin. I don't know how to spell it. What is it? Applebaum. Applebaum. Oh my goodness. It was so funny. This is 8 years. Yes, I am randomly asking you for some dude you've never heard of and a soundbite from, actually, I think it was 4 years ago. It was 2020 when Pete Buttigieg was running for president. And this guy, he was like the stereotypical intellectual lib. And it was one of the more famous videos to come out of that primary. Everybody forgets about it because COVID, of course, happened 2 months later, but it was one of the absolute funniest things. Speaking of funny things, each and every day we name the unhinged liberal of the day.
Make me crazy.
Trump is Hitler.
We are in pre-Nazi Germany. Make me crazy.
All white people are racist.
Does that make me crazy?
Trump is dangerous because he's evil. America is over.
You know what I really want is a camera in the producer's room to look at producer Dave frantically trying to find the random soundbite that I tasked him with finding. Remember that scene in Bruce Almighty, where Jim Carrey is God and he's trying to answer every prayer and he's with the keyboard? That's Dave in there trying to find Benjamin Applebaum and Pete Buttigieg talking about bread fixing, price fixing bread prices or whatever. All right, unhinged liberal Glenn Kirshner, who wants to send Trump to prison. He's with MSNBC, NBC News, wants to send Trump to prison. You know what? I can't even talk. This is how flustered you've got me, because you can't find the random soundbite that I want you to find from the guy you've never heard of from 4 years ago. Glenn Kirshner, NBC News, wants Trump in prison for the rest of his natural life.
As long as Donald Trump loses the election, then Donald Trump will spend the rest of his miserable life in court being prosecuted and ultimately serving prison terms, one after the other. So our job is to just get to the polls and numbers too big to rig and too real to steal, and then everything else will sort itself out.
Wait, is he saying Trump is going to steal the election? Send that man to prison. Glenn Kirshner, your unhinged liberal of the day.
News that's factual, fair, and balanced. This is continuing coverage on News Talk 1130 WISN, Milwaukee.
Good morning, I'm Ted Allen. Milwaukee's sewer managers are asking people to use less water today because of the expected heavy rains. Milwaukee Metropolitan Sewerage District says they're trying to keep as much water out of their system as possible to limit any sewage discharges later on today. Forecasters are expecting a round of heavy rains and storms later on today. MMSD says that rain will likely fill its tunnels and water reclamation facilities. Once that happens, the district says raw sewage will be released. That'll eventually end up in Lake Michigan. The sewerage district is suggesting shorter showers and pushing laundry off for a day or two. A fatal crash involving a train and a semi hauling manure happened yesterday afternoon in the Sheboygan County town of Sherman. A 66-year-old Kewaskum man driving the tanker truck hauling nearly 5,000 gallons of liquid manure died at the scene. No one else was injured. The Wisconsin Southern train that hit the semi had 6 of its 22 cars derail, with only one losing its load of plastic pellets. The sheriff's office says the road where the crash happened may be closed for several days as crews clean up the scene. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz said yesterday he's agreed to participate in a vice presidential debate on CBS News October 1st. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance didn't answer when asked by reporters yesterday as he exited a plane in Cincinnati if he had accepted the debate invitation. Checking the holiday automotive of Fond du Lac Sports scoreboard, the Brewers and Los Angeles Dodgers wrap up their series later on today at American Family Field. From the Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin News Center, I'm Ted Allen on Wisconsin's most listened to radio station, News Talk 1130 WISN.
This is Michael Lynch from Lynch Truck Center. For the first time ever, Lynch Truck Center is having a massive construction sale on over 400 in-stock trucks, which include Chevrolet, GMC, Hino, and Isuzu. You will not want to miss it. We're adding parking, 7 more truck bays, and expanded parts storage so we can better serve you, our customer. Did you know our experienced sales staff sold more Chevrolet medium-duty trucks and cab-overs than all the other dealers in the state combined? With their knowledge on upfits, combined with our service department, we deliver turnkey vehicles for your business, including the right body for your application, bin packages, and even lettered when it's delivered right to your door. As a business owner, has managing your fleet grown into a full-time job? Our fleet department can help. We provide a free fleet analysis which guides you when to trade, help track expenses for maintenance, fuel, and even vehicle tracking. You'll be shocked on the money and time you can save, not to mention having new vehicles under warranty. Visit lynchtruckcenter.com and give us a shot. We won't disappoint you.
Here's the latest forecast from the Fox 6 weather experts.
Rain and thunderstorms for our Thursday. There is a risk for strong to severe storms today, and periods of heavy rain are certainly possible. High near 74 with a strong south-southeast wind. Still seeing rain tonight. I'm Fox 6 Chief Meteorologist Rob Haswell.
This report is sponsored by Allstate. Wish you could save on home insurance? With Allstate, you could easily save and get quality protection. Yep, it's a win-win. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Missed By the Yard at the fair this year? You can still shop and save at By the Yard showroom in Oconomowoc and online at buytheyard.net. By the Yard outdoor furniture is maintenance-free with a 35-year warranty. Visit buytheyard.net for details.
Another insurance story from
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
It's raining inside.
Pipes burst, but we're covered with renter's insurance from Smart Bunny.
Get up to $100,000 of personal liability coverage and up to $40,000 of contents insurance for as low as $15 a month. Hop on the Smart Bunny app for some renter's insurance. Smart Bunny Insurance.
Smart Bunny. Smart Bunny.
Your insurance super app. Insurance is sold by Smart Bunny Insurance Services and underwritten by various companies. Coverage exclusions and limitations may apply.
Hi, this is Teresa Wolf with Pro-Life Wisconsin. Come and see what we are doing to build a culture of life at our Love for Life Gala here in Brookfield on Saturday, September 14th. with guest speaker Seth Dillon, CEO of the Babylon Bee. Tickets are on sale now at prolifewi.org/gala or call us at 262-796-1111. That's 262-796-1111. We'll see you there.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
Catch the Hatch. Hatch peppers are coming to Sendik's this weekend. This Southwestern favorite is only available for a few short weeks every year. Don't miss out. Order yours now. Learn more and see recipes at Sendik's.com/hatch. And join us this weekend as we roast the fresh peppers at Sendik's Wauwatosa, Oconomowoc, Franklin, New Berlin, Grafton, and Heartland. Come hear the roar of the roaster and enjoy the unforgettable aroma of Hatch peppers. See the roasting times at Sendik's.com/hatch. Sendik's Food Markets, your trusted local grocer.
A violent crime is committed every 24 seconds. The U.S. Concealed Carry Association exists to provide you with firearms education, training, and access to self-defense liability insurance, so when trouble comes, you'll be ready. Over 800,000 Americans trust the USCCA, and right now, there's an exclusive, limited-time offer for radio listeners. Go to defendfamily.com to get a free family defense guide, a survival secrets training video from a retired FBI agent, and see all the benefits of membership. Go to defendfamily.com now.
Are you tired of exposing your retirement to stock market risk? How would you like the potential to participate in credited interest from market index returns and limit the downside? Join Joe Brown for the Safe Money and Income Radio Show on Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and 8 p.m.
At Semper Fi Roofing and Exteriors, we have finance options for new exterior remodeling projects for almost anybody. And if you have the right credit, we'll beat your bank's rate.
We keep you safe, warm, and dry. Semper Fi.
News Talk 1130 WISN.
Be sure to listen to the Annex Wealth Management Investment Show Saturday mornings at 11 and Sunday afternoons at 1 on News Talk 1130 WISN. Annex provides its expertise to arm listeners with the knowledge and tools to invest wisely. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Dedicated to providing right-minded candor on the issues that matter to you. This is Wisconsin's most listened to radio station. News Talk 1130 WISN.
The soundbite. Sometimes you ask the kids to do a chore and dad just needs to. Dave is like frantically looking. I went back to my office, found the thing in 20 seconds and put it. Yes, I knew I would. Of course I knew what I was looking for. This is. Getting into my head is challenging, Dave. The only people, there are two people in the world that know what it's like. My wife and Dave. My wife will constantly say, I'll be like, what, didn't you hear me? I specifically said, we need to do this. And she said, no, Dan, I think you just thought it, but you believed that you said it. Like, Dave is definitely on Team Megan. You guys, this is what Dave was at a Brewers game last night. And for a second, I thought I was going to have to drop my daughter off there because she was going with a friend. I didn't know you had a suite, or I would have insisted that you went. He's like, I'm at the Brewers game. I thought with what we pay you, you're like, I don't know, sitting at the top of Bernie's chalet. Somehow, Dave, I get, people say, Dan's the one person. Producer Dave is sitting in his suite, eating bonbons and sipping caviar. He was actually sitting on Mark Adenosio's lap. And I wanted to go. My wife and I, she was like, oh my gosh, we should have gone, hung out with Dave and Angela. And I said, no, I don't think I can allow this because you two telling stories about what it's like dealing with me on a daily basis, just like the random crazy stuff. Like, okay, Dave, here's this guy you've never heard of. He said something 4 years ago. You've got 30 seconds to find the soundbite. It was truly hilarious. The guy is an editor. I'm not sure if he's still there. I'm pretty confident stint he is. His name is Benjamin Applebaum, and he's a New York Times editor, and he looks and sounds exactly like you would picture a New York Times editor looking and sounding. Oh, did I say Post? Oops, sorry. It was New York Times. New York Times. He's this very pompous. He's got the glasses pushed down on his nose, and he's looking down his nose at this young man, Buttigieg, who dares to come before the New York Times editorial board for an interview. Him before us. And, well, Benjamin Applebaum uncorked this all-timer of an interaction with Mayor Pete.
You've been on the front lines of corporate downsizing. You've been on the front lines of corporate price fixing. You've been on the front lines of our misadventures.
I'm sorry,
of our misadventures in foreign policy. You've had direct experience of many of the things that make a lot of young people very angry about the way that this country is operating right now. You don't seem to embody that anger.
So the proposition that I've been on front lines of corporate price fixing is just to get that out of the way.
You worked for a company that was fixing bread prices.
No, I worked for a consulting company that had a client that may have been involved in fixing, or was apparently in a scandal. I was not aware of the Canadian bread pricing scandal until last night.
The way he looks at Buttigieg with just pure malevolence, pure lib superiority and smugness when he said, "You worked for a company that was fixing bread prices." I don't expect you to correct the bread fixing, Mr. Bond. I expect you to die. If you would like to join the Dan O'Donnell Show, 414-799-1130, 1-800-838-9476. Email me directly, dod@iheartmedia.com, at Dan O'Donnell Show on X, facebook.com/Dan O'Donnell Show, or watch the show streaming live on YouTube. Just search for Dan O'Donnell or Dan O'Donnell Show. So it is expected to be a rainy couple of days. I'm a little bummed, as you may or may not know, I am leaving for Europe tomorrow. We're going tomorrow night. I am going to be on the air tomorrow morning. Our flight leaves at about 9 p.m. We are taking a group of listeners on Operation Overlord with Dan O'Donnell. It is a commemoration of the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which happened June 6th, and we are going from London, where we're going to study the planning of the D-Day invasion. We're then going to go to Normandy for a couple of days and see the beaches. I actually was talking with my daughter's soccer coach last night, who is a huge history buff, and she was like, I am dead serious. Send me pictures. She went for the 75th anniversary, and she said it is just, you will have goosebumps the entire time. You're going next year? Why didn't you just go with us? Good point. He says, who's going to run the radio station? What, did Jerry Budd die? Did I miss something? Like, what do you mean? Who's going to run the show? Exactly. I know. We can't, do we power down? Oh, man. He's coming out with both guns blazing. This is producer Dave. He goes, what, should we just power down from 9 to 11 and give Steve Scafidi a chance? Oh, come on. I like Steve. You know that. I'm not exactly sure how much he likes me, but I enjoy him. I've known him since the Sikh temple shooting. He was a fantastic mayor of Oak Creek, just a tremendous leader during that dark day. In any event, producer Dave apparently is just out with the long knives. He's out for blood. He is running in, and poor Steve Scafidi is catching strays like last week Phil Anderson, my new mortal enemy. Now we're gonna have Scafidi calling in, and he's gonna be like, I want to debate producer Dave on whether or not I suck. You're Facebook friends with him? Oh, you're friends with Phil Anderson. No, Steve Scafidi now hates your guts. Steve Scafidi is going to be waiting outside of the studio, and he is going to slap you with his ring hand. All right, can we get to actual serious stuff? And by serious stuff, I mean a whole lot of poop. It is, of course, going to be rainy, and I said it's going to be rainy, and I'm disappointed because this was going to be my last soccer practice. Next week, I'm going to be gone. I'm coaching the girls. My daughter is playing on 2 different teams this fall. She's going to be a busy little girl. And we were going to have practice today. I'm thinking the weather might force me to cancel it, which stinks because I'm not going to be able to run soccer for the next week or so. Not going to be able to play soccer. So, today, tomorrow, probably going to be pretty rainy. Guess what MMSD is already planning for? Overflows. For those who don't live in Milwaukee, don't understand that we have a deep tunnel that's not quite deep enough. Every time it rains, they dump sewage into Milwaukee's pristine waterways, rivers, creeks, Lake Michigan, wherever they can find some runoff, we get poop, which is why anybody who has ever lived in Milwaukee understands that if it has rained at any point in the previous week, you do not go swimming in Lake Michigan. In fact, most Milwaukeeans tend to avoid swimming in Lake Michigan. So what is MMSD asking Milwaukeeans today? To cut water use. If you can, don't flush the toilet, apparently. MMSD, instead of, spending billions of dollars on a tunnel that was deep enough, says if it's mellow or if it's yellow, let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down when it stops raining. The sewage district, according to the Journal Sentinel, is urging residents to take shorter showers, save laundry and dishes for another day, and empty rain barrels regularly. The sewage district serves 1.1 million customers in 28 communities in the greater Milwaukee area. The National Weather Service has issued a beach hazard statement for Thursday advising swimmers to avoid Lake Michigan as poop could reach 6 feet. No, I'm sorry, waves could reach 6 feet, but also poop. There is also a risk of rip currents. Milwaukee, for those unfamiliar, has a combined sewage system in which both stormwater and wastewater from homes and businesses flow through the same pipes before it is treated. That seemed to have been a big mistake in hindsight when we were sold on the, $1.3 billion deep tunnel system. If heavy rains cause the water reclamation facilities in deep tunnels to fill to capacity, the sewage district must discharge untreated water into Milwaukee's 3 rivers and Lake Michigan to prevent wastewater from backing up into homes and businesses. When a combined sewer overflow does occur, most of that water is rainwater rushing out as soon as it enters the system. However, there is a risk of bacteria impacting local waterways like Lake Michigan. You will never hear, nor have I think, ever heard an environmentalist ever complain about the single biggest polluter in the Milwaukee area. Milwaukee has, and this is why, people always erroneously claim that, oh my gosh, you conservatives, you would never set foot in Milwaukee, you hate Milwaukee, nah. I actually fell in love with Milwaukee again during the Republican National Convention. In truth, I don't get down there as nearly as often as I can. I'm usually with the kids. We've got activities, baseball, soccer, whatever it is, violin. We're not often in. I'm not a swinging single. I can't go down to Water Street or Brady Street and party every night. I'm 43 years old. I try to stay within a 5-mile radius of my house. I'm basically like an old man at age 43. But Milwaukee has some of the most beautiful waterways. Our riverfront is gorgeous. Our lakefront is even more gorgeous. I'm glad we're finally starting to develop along that lakefront. We're finally starting to get the high-rise condominiums, the office buildings, everything, and fully taking advantage of the lakefront. I mean, you have got just a beautiful, unique, natural environment for the city that every time it rains a little bit, and is anybody predicting that this is going to be some sort of generational monsoon? No, it's just going to rain for about a day and a half. And our sewage system can't handle it. So we just sort of dump in the waterways. Now, I'm old enough to remember when Foxconn was first proposed and first announced, do you know what one of the biggest fears amongst the environmentalist left was? I know because I must have read 4 different articles in that same Milwaukee Journal Sentinel about Foxconn using so much water to make the tempered glass for Apple products that it would actually lower the water levels of Lake Michigan. I'm entirely certain these people don't listen to themselves as the words come out. You're telling me they're going to use that much water that one of the largest lakes in the entire world is going to lose its water? I'm fairly certain it doesn't work like that. But we were told that the water of Lake Michigan was so pristine. We needed to fight against this unwarranted pollution. Have you ever heard the government of Milwaukee, the Metropolitan Milwaukee Sewage District, ever come under fire for dumping untreated sewage, literal poo, into the waterways? And it happens probably, what would you say, Dave, on average 3-4 times a year when we've got a heavy rain, something like that? 6? Okay, it's not like it happens every day. It's not like it's even in the grand scheme of things, because Lake Michigan and these rivers are so vast. It's not as though they're polluting it. I will say my father, who sails in Lake Michigan, says you can actually see the, shall we say, the sheen of the sewage that's dumped in Lake Michigan coming at your boat. It's not as though this is a ton. This is more to highlight the fact that it's very selective, our outrage, when it comes to what is polluting the natural world. You're listening to the Dan O'Donnell Show. Classical conservatism, contemporary style.
Win your way to our 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, presented by Capital One. September 20th and 21st.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
Keep listening for your next chance to be there.
Capital One is the proud presenting partner of the 2024 iHeartRadio Music Festival, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
While most other furniture finishers restore wood furniture using high-pressure water to remove old lacquer and varnish, we only use a chemical solvent. Because when you use water, it will eventually raise the grain, loosen glue joints, and lift veneer. So if you have something really special that you'd like to restore, call us. For the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com. If you want your restored antique piece to remain primitive, no problem. Maybe you want to restore it to as good as new condition. We can do that. The way we work is based solely on what your needs are. And that seems to make the process of restoring your unique piece almost always a positive one. So if you're looking for the finest in furniture finishing and heirloom restoration, by golly, it's Mullally. Mullally Furniture Finishing and Repair. We're no job's too small. Serving everywhere. Quality counts. MULLALY finishing.com.
Business owners, when the time comes to sell your business, experience matters. Lake Country Advisors is your local award-winning M&A firm, and we're right here in Wisconsin. So to sell your business the right way, schedule a free consultation by visiting lakecountryadvisors.com.
If you're someone who's experiencing shoulder, spine, hip, knee, or musculoskeletal pain, and a total joint replacement might be in your future, think Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Their physicians specialize in same-day total joint replacements at their own ambulatory surgery center. See orthowisconsin.com.
In these crazy times, there's peace of mind in security. Security for our country, for our leaders, security for our families. You are not financially secure if all your eggs are in one basket. Gold and silver are an excellent way to diversify your savings. They're a hedge against inflation. They're a physical asset that is in high demand globally, from the wealthy to central banks. Investing some portion of your savings in gold is a smart way to help protect the value of what you've saved. And through our friends at Birch Gold Group, you can own physical gold and silver in a tax-sheltered retirement account. That's right. You can diversify an old IRA or 401k for no money out of pocket into an IRA in gold and silver. With an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau and thousands of happy customers, you can trust Birch Gold like I do.
To learn more, text the word SECURE to 989898 and get a free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Again, text SECURE to the number 989898 to protect your hard-earned savings today.
Talk radio, redefined.
I'ma do my own thing.
You're listening to The Dan O'Donnell Show.
I decided that I gotta do my own thing. I just gotta do my own thing.
Chance the Rapper in the Dan O'Donnell Show bumper music rotation. Was it former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker who we introduced him when this bumper song was playing, and he's like, I have absolutely no idea what I just heard. Yeah, we do our own thing here on the Dan O'Donnell Show, from the bumper music to the topics to the way we present them. It's how we roll. It's Talk Radio Redefined. At least one arrest has now been made in connection with the death of Matthew Perry, the Friends star who was found dead last winter in his hot tub after ingesting ketamine. A law enforcement source tells the Associated Press, because the official was not authorized to discuss details of the case, he spoke on condition of anonymity. Charges are expected to be formally announced at a press conference in Los Angeles today. The Friends star died, October 28th. For some reason, I thought that was later. I thought that was in the winter. Last fall, after an apparent drowning in a hot tub at his home in the Pacific Palisades area of Los Angeles. He was just 54 years old. The Los Angeles Police Department previously confirmed that the department was still actively working on the investigation. Perry's autopsy results, which were released in December, that's, I think, why I got the idea that he died in December in my head, detected trace amounts of ketamine in his stomach. His death was listed due to the acute effects of ketamine. Other conditions that contributed to his death included coronary artery disease. Prescription medications and loose pills were also found at the residence. Alcohol, methamphetamine, cocaine, heroin, PCP, fentanyl were all not detected. The exact method of intake in Mr. Perry's case, not known. Now, what I think is likely, and I'm not sure if the press conference has already happened. I know that Fox News was covering this a little while ago. I'm not sure. Was there the press conference? I didn't see a press conference, but I know Fox News has been covering this. And I want to just talk about it for a minute or two. It is very likely that the arrest was whoever it was that sold Perry the ketamine. Now, ketamine can actually be, there are legitimate uses. In fact, a ton of them. It's essentially an anesthetic. And there are surgical uses, there are medical uses. In fact, I believe advertising on this station is a treatment facility that advertises treating the effects of depression with ketamine. At the risk of angering an advertiser, I think, and look, this is not to impugn them at all. I'm sure they use it very, very safely. I am just very nervous about the use of ketamine because of exactly what happened to Matthew. There is the potential, very strong potential, for addiction, abuse, and death from ketamine overdoses. I mean, you can, and I'm sure I'm going to get an email about this. And again, I am not saying, and frankly, if you put a gun to my head right now, I have no idea what the company is called that does the ketamine. Believe it or not, I don't listen to our advertisements very closely, seeing as I voice about 50% of all advertisements on this radio station. I try to actively tune out when I hear my own voice. Like most of you, I don't like hearing the sound of my own voice either, even though I'm probably way more used to hearing it than you are. hearing your own voice, that is. Hopefully you hear me every single day from 9 to 11. Anytime you are, and look, I recognize I'm going to face charges of being hypocritical because I promote the fact that I take an anti-anxiety medication. It's essentially a generic form of Lexapro. The medicine's name is escitalopram, and I absolutely love it. It gets my generalized anxiety disorder just completely under control. I mean, you might imagine that I am a normal, calm guy. I'm normally a calm, very quiet, reserved guy. Then again, if you see me wildly gesticulating, as one lib put it while watching our live feed, you'll know I'm generally pretty high strung. I understand taking medication in order to control whatever symptoms you're having. The issue that I have, if anything is promoted as a sort of miracle drug, and oh my gosh, you just take this one thing and you'll be totally fine, what that tends to breed is, okay, I feel fine for now. I take the dose of ketamine and I feel great. But then I'm chasing that high. And for the overwhelming, and this is the thing, for the overwhelming majority of people, and this is far beyond ketamine. It has alcohol. You can be addicted to coffee, for goodness sakes. And I'm sure I am deeply addicted to coffee, hence the wild gesticulating. There is a certain percentage of people who simply can't go out and socially drink. There is a percentage of people who will take cocaine and be horribly addicted. Other people will, take a bump at a casino in Las Vegas. Or, I don't know where you would take cocaine. Never tried this stuff. He says, ask Hunter. Well, he would snort it off a lady of the evening's rear end if Hunter Biden, who, by the way, kudos to the New York Times for finally reporting what we all knew, that Hunter was asking for State Department help for the company he worked for, Burisma. Weird. It's almost like there was a massive influence peddling scheme operating in plain view. But when it comes to addiction, there is a certain percentage of people, and Matthew Perry, I think, was clearly one of them, who just had an addictive personality. And science is still figuring out what causes some people to be able to drink like a fish when they're in college or they're a young adult, and then it has no impact on them whatsoever. And some people will fall into the abyss of alcoholism. And this isn't also to suggest, because whenever I talk about the idea that, no, I don't believe marijuana should be legalized, I recognize that I am on the losing side politically of this argument. But I believe there is enough science that suggests, especially for developing brains, people 25 and under, it is about the worst thing that you can take because of its close association with psychosis, with just very, very serious mental health conditions down the line from protracted use of marijuana. This is not to say that I think alcohol is totally fine. I think alcohol for many people, because it's far more available, is far more destructive. But it's the same sort of thing. It's like when you're promoting ketamine and, therapy. We used to promote LSD therapy, so you could trip out and get happier. Well, we now know that LSD can be very addictive. It can be a damaging substance. What was the club drug? Molly. Right? It was that MDMA. That was used. Oh my gosh, this is a miracle drug. But we now know it causes very, very severe. You could cause all sorts of mental health issues. I think it leads to back issues. I'm not sure about scoliosis, but one of it can lead to a curvature of the spine, for goodness sakes. It's just a very dangerous thing. And I understand the hypocrisy. Well, Dan, you take this substance for your mental health. Why can't other people? Well, it's a very small dose, and it's not something that gives me a high. It just makes me feel a little bit more normal. So it's my guess. I'm not sure, again, if I had to guess, that Matthew Perry got his ketamine from a Dr. Feelgood pill mill type place that just, it caters to the stars. Whatever. It's Dr. Conrad Murray, I believe, was the guy who was keeping Michael Jackson hopped up on, what was it, propofol. And just, I mean, when you're dealing with this sort of serious stuff, it can have very serious consequences. So that's, I'm going to get off my high horse on that one. Dan O'Donnell Show coming back in a second.
Repairing sunken or uneven concrete can be easy, clean, and half the price of replacing your concrete. Contact Raise Right to fix your trip hazards, driveway, sidewalk, pool deck, and more. Concrete lifting holes are small and nearly invisible. Go to WeRaiseConcrete.com. Raise Right, the #1 concrete lifting, foundation repair, and waterproofing team for Wisconsin homeowners. WeRaiseConcrete.com. That's WeRaiseConcrete.com.
Hi, this is Dan Miller with Pro-Life Wisconsin. Come and see what we are doing to build a culture of life at our Love for Life Gala here in Brookfield on Saturday, September 14th with guest speaker Seth Dillon, CEO of the Babylon Bee. Tickets are on sale now at prolifewi.org/gala or call 262-796-1111. That's 262-796-1111. We'll see you there.
For more information about contests on News Talk 1130 WISN, go to newstalk1130.com/rules.
Dan O'Donnell here. It's This Week with Annex Wealth Management. I'm joined by Dave Spano, the CEO of Annex. And this week, Dave, we're seeing cross currents in the nation's economy. A couple of weeks ago, you had a huge one-day drop. The market has sort of clawed back, strong earnings, but still a whole lot of, I think, fear and trepidation about what's possible next.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Unemployment rate went from 3.4 last year to 4.3. Some economists have it going as perhaps as high as 5%. So you have that going on. But at the same time, inflation has eaten away some purchasing power of consumers. So they have these two pieces going on. The other cross-current part of that is that the Fed is expected to lower rates in September. But you think about where people are and why they're concerned about this is because we have an election coming up. And they are uncertain about what could happen. You think about where the Democrats were just before Biden stepped away. They were despondent, and now they're jubilant. You think about why that is, and that's just because your side is winning or your side is losing. But people will vote, Dan, as you well know, their checkbooks. And so if the unemployment rate continues to go up, if inflation continues to eat away at purchasing power, and the stock market whips around, that will eat into people's confidence, and that might come out come November in the next 90 days.
Yeah, it is obviously worth watching because the state of the economy from August to November is definitely something that is a big predictor of how people are going to vote come November. We, of course, here like to watch it all. Politics, economics, all of it. And that's why you need to go to annexwealth.com to get a review of your portfolio. Know what you own and why you own it through a wealth metric, because whether it's news coming in, political or economical, they will have you covered. For Dave Spano, CEO of Annex, I'm Dan O'Donnell. This has been This Week with Annex Wealth Management.
I'm Brett Ochtenhagen, owner of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services, and I'm so proud to be a father, a husband, an entrepreneur, a Christian, and an American. My wife Amy and I did our best to educate our children about our reasons for embracing traditional values. Recently, Amy and I became empty nesters, and now our young adults are in the real world with the American dream in their heads, their hearts, and soon it will be in their hands to share with others. God is good. Marriage and children are a blessing. Capitalism works, and America is grand. She is rich with beautiful places to explore. She's a melting pot of beautiful people. Diverse? Yes. But we are still blessed to have so much in common. Ignore the politicians and the media who sow seeds of hate. Let's embrace the wonders of life, liberty, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness in America. Join me in discovering the wonders of nature and the wonders of America.
Want to sell your house fast for cash? Don't waste time listing your home. With Metro Milwaukee Homebuyer, get a fair cash offer. Choose your own closing date. No commissions or repair costs. We buy houses for cash, any condition, anywhere in Milwaukee. Go to MetroMilwaukeeHomebuyer.com.
So he said to me, "You're giving me the company line, but why do you think that Marvin Windows and Doors are truly the best?" And I said, "Bob, all I can go by is my family's 50 years of experience. With the reputation we have, we could carry almost any brand. But I need to know that I'm not just selling the company line. So before we chose a lead brand, we examined what was out there, and we chose Marvin." This is David Wilhelm. Marvin Windows and Doors are built around you, and they won't disappoint. And neither will the prices and selection you'll find at Lisbon Storm Screen and Door. Because we're one of the nation's largest Marvin suppliers. And the products we carry that complement Marvin's lines, like Solar Seal caulk, aluminum trim coil, and window and door touch-up sprays, that even Marvin buys from us, are priced so right, we ship them to Marvin dealers from California to Vermont. So for window and door repair or replacement, your clear choice for more is Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Your clear choice for more, Lisbon Storm Screen and Door.
Find us at lisbonstorm.com.
Between market volatility, inflation, global unrest, and the presidential election, there's a lot going on. Take control with help from Annex Wealth Management. Have a plan built that matches up with your investment and retirement goals. Annex does it as a fee-only fiduciary with unbiased advice. Annex offers financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, and Annex Ignite. Head to AnnexWealth.com, click the Get Started button. It's time to put things in order. Know the difference with a fee-only fiduciary. AnnexWealth.com.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to AdventKnows.com.
Some more research on the polling in mid-August in 2020 between Joe Biden and Donald Trump to sort of do a broader comparison to where the state of the race likely is right now. In the critical swing states of Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, excuse me, Biden was leading in all of them by an average of 6.5 percentage points. He barely won those states. He won those states by an average of 1 point. In the upper Midwest, the August polling bias towards Biden, and I don't mean intentional bias, I just mean they were oversampling or they were overestimating Biden's support, was about 5.0. Now, it is a little bit different when you broaden that out. Now, I don't have data from Nevada. Nevada, apparently, they weren't doing state polling because I don't think anyone really thought that Nevada was a competitive state heading into the election of 2020. So the polling basically started in September. What I am attempting to prove is that this race, based on the history of Trump voters being essentially undercounted for whatever reason, deliberate bias in some polls, sure. More likely, it's that some voters just are not able to be reached, and you have to do your best to sort of guesstimate as to where those voters would likely be. I would posit that it is far more difficult to get a hold of Republicans than Democrats. Democrats are just going to be far more likely to take a poll. They're far more into politics. They're far more likely to do it. Republicans are put it this way. If someone calls up and says, "Hi, Joe, I'm with CBS News," click, right? There's just sort of that inherent distrust of any sort of media thing, and I'm very glad that you people have that mistrust. So So I looked at the 5 swing states that we have data for. I still don't consider North Carolina, even though I know Trump was there yesterday. By the way, he got off a great line. Did you hear this? He was talking about Kamala deliberately ripping off his no tax on tips proposal. And he said, is she just going to wait for me to put out an economic plan so she can copy it?
Kamala Harris won't end the economic crisis. She will only make it worse. And why hasn't she done it? She talks about it. She's doing a plan. You know, she's going to announce it this week, maybe. She's waiting for me to announce it so she can copy it.
Vintage Trump, by the way. So he's in North Carolina, but I still don't see North Carolina swinging, nor do I say Democrats always in August. It is where Democrat fantasies are made because they think Florida and Texas are within Kamala's sights. No, it's just standard deviation from the mean. For whatever reason, Democrats just have a great month in August. Things generally start to tighten up in September. I would argue that there is a certain built-in oversampling that tries to establish the bandwagon effect early for the Democrat, but that's just conspiratorial tinfoil hat Dan. Although if you take a look at some of the sample sizes and some of the weighting, you'll tend to come on over to my style of thinking. On August 15th, Arizona showed a 2-point Biden lead. Georgia was the only state that showed a Trump lead of 2 points. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania were all in the realm of about a 6.5-point Biden lead. You average those swing states together, you get a 3.92% Biden lead in the swing states. Okay? Final results were obviously a lot tighter. Do you know Arizona and Georgia's elections were both decided by 0.3% of the vote? Wisconsin's was decided by 0.7% of the vote. This is why I say 45,000 votes in Wisconsin, Arizona, and Georgia go the other way. Just 45,000. President Trump is wrapping up his second term. Interesting thought experiment. Who do you think the nominee would be right now had those 45,000 votes gone the other way for the Republicans? Mike Pence? Yeah, if that didn't happen, yeah, if January 6th never happened and Mike Pence refused to do the right thing, according to Trump, yeah, I think Pence would probably be the nominee. Who would be the Democratic nominee? Would it be Kamala? My guess is probably not, because she would have been on the losing ticket with Biden. Yeah, I think it would be Gavin Newsom. I think you'd be looking at a Mike Pence, Gavin Newsom ticket. I really do. Or a matchup. Who would Newsom's running mate be? He would need probably a woman, probably someone from the Midwest, a regular gal to show that, yep, that's who I was thinking exactly. It'd be Gretchen Whitmer. I think, well, here's another experiment. Would it be Josh Shapiro? If Trump was reelected, chances are October 7th doesn't happen. They wouldn't have, I don't think they would have the stones to do something like that. What are you saying? You wouldn't have 2 governors? What do you think Gretchen Whitmer does? Well, Gretchen Whitmer is a governor. You just said she would be the favorite. It wouldn't be governors. It would be someone from the Senate who would be a woman, a female senator from the upper Midwest. Amy Klobuchar Amy Klobuchar would probably be a very strong contender to be Gavin Newsom's running mate. Okay. After that little deviation, it is a fun thought experiment. Like, what if it, and it's not out of the realm of possibility. It's not like Trump got smoked in that election. 45,000 votes. That's all it took. This is why I also have a very difficult time, because everything was going against Trump in 2020. Everything. And he still came within 45,000 votes of winning. Trump is now more popular than he ever has been, and Democrats are on the defensive after 3.5, nearly 4 years of a devastating economy, people being completely unable to afford things, And, 10 million illegal immigrants waltzing across our porous southern border, being let in by border czar Kamala Harris. So remember that number, 3.92%. That's what Biden was leading in the swing states on August 15th. He ended up winning the swing states by an average of 1.06%. That means there was an oversampling of Biden's support in the swing states in mid-August of 2.86%. Do you want to know where this race currently sits in those exact same swing states? We'll tell you after this. That's what we call in the radio business a tease. Dan O'Donnell Show returns.
All I'm doing is driving to have a meeting with my mom and dad. That's all.
About our finances?
Look, I'm already very late.
Jerry, remember a ceremony a year ago? I dressed in white and you in black?
I know you're my wife, but my mom said to me, you and what's her name?
She doesn't even remember my name.
Should bank at the bank next to my apartment, she said.
These days, the bank for us is First American.
Gotta go or mom's gonna worry.
First American has products that make us smart savers and smart borrowers.
See, mom made tapioca pudding for me.
First American CDs offer some of the highest rates.
But my mom says...
Your wife says we may even need a loan soon. And First American's fixed rate home equity loan is a smart way to borrow.
Yeah, but mom says
we can get the money and...
Okay. Well, check out First American Bank. Now, who can that be? Mom.
When you didn't show up, I got worried. Here's your tapioca. Dad's parking the car. Who's this?
Mom, it's my wife, Carol.
Oh, yeah, we met you at the wedding. Hi, dear.
First American Bank, the bank that does more for your money. Visit us online at firstambank.com or call us at 262-577-2400. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Monica, Sarah, have you heard the good news?
What is it? Joe Gerke says our new store in Bristol, Wisconsin, otherwise known as Kenosha, will be open this autumn. Kessler's Diamonds is opening a new store.
Indeed we are. It's located off I-94 and Highway 50.
We should reach out and tell people in the area that we're hiring.
Monica, that microphone is on. Tell them what we're looking for.
Do you love people? Do you smile a lot? Are you the person that all your friends come to when they need help or advice? Kessler's Diamonds is one of the top engagement ring stores in America.
And we're also the largest employee-owned jewelry company in the world.
You're going to love working for Kessler's Diamonds. You're going to love shopping at Kessler's Diamonds.
Diamond engagement rings.
Diamond tennis bracelets. Diamond stud earrings.
Diamond anniversary bands.
And big anniversary diamonds. We do diamonds magnificently because diamonds are all we do.
To apply for a job or find out more about us, visit KesslersDiamonds.com.
Everything must go while supplies last. Take advantage of huge discounts during our end of summer clearance. Thielman Group, Southeast Wisconsin's premier heating and cooling dealer, has 3 warehouses full of equipment that needs to be sold to make room. Whether you're in West Bend, Oconomowoc, Racine, or anywhere in between, we've got you covered. This offer is while supplies last, so when they're gone, they're gone. Call us today at 262-288-4654 or visit our website at thielmangroup.com. That's Thielman with 2 N's, group.com.
Some of the best tasting seafood is from Alaska, and you can pre-order it from Sendix today. If you love shrimp, then check out this amazing deal. Royal Tiger Extra Jumbo cooked and clean 16 to 20 count shrimp are just $8.99 per pound, sold in 2-pound bag. That's a savings of over $10 per pound. Alaskan Copper River sockeye salmon whole frozen fillets are just $8.99 a pound. Amazing Alaska seafood deals are available if you pre-order now at Sendix.com. Super prices on super seafood at Sendix, your trusted local grocer.
NYPD officer Jonathan Diller's tragic story made national headlines this year. Now, Jonathan was shot and killed by a career criminal during a traffic stop. Jonathan, who's just 31 years old, leaves behind his wife Stephanie and 1-year-old son Ryan. Now, nothing will ever replace the loss of a husband and a father, but the Tunnel to Towers Foundation was able to pay off the mortgage on the Diller family's home. Please commit to $11 a month. Go to their website, the letter T, the number 2, the letter T.org for the Tunnel to Towers Foundation. Hey, I'm going to let you in on a wireless hack that can cut your cell phone bill in half. Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, they want you to think that unlimited data is fantastic. Well, the fact is, it's not. Pure Talk, my cell phone company, only charges you for data that you need. With just $25 a month, you get unlimited talk, unlimited text, 5 gigs of data, plus mobile hotspot. Just dial pound 250, say the keyword save now, and do it now. You'll save an additional 50% off your first month. Save money, same service with Pure Talk.
Let Tri-County Contracting take care of the outside of your home so you don't have to. Worry-free roofing, siding, and windows from Tri-County Contracting. Call us at 262-679-6100 or visit us online at tricountycontractingwi.com.
Join News Talk 1130 this Saturday at 4 p.m. for The Word on Medicine, the show that brings you the latest medical innovations and discoveries by physicians and scientists at the Medical College of Wisconsin. That's Saturday afternoon at 4 on News Talk 1130 WISN.
Tune in every Sunday morning at 10 a.m. as Ellenbecker Investment Group highlights local people and organizations who are using their time and their talents to give back to make a difference in our community. Milwaukee's philanthropic community. Visit ellenbecker.com to learn more.
Learn the secrets to create your own ultimate backyard retreat with Brett Ochtenhagen of Brett Ochtenhagen Seasonal Services. Tune in every Saturday at 1 p.m. on News Talk 1130 WISN. Learn more at seasonalservices.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
Conservative thought, not just talk. This is the Dan O'Donnell Show.
Ready, steady, go!
On August 15th, the polls were wrong in the swing states of Arizona, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania by 2.86%, giving Biden a lead of 2.86% that he didn't really have. He ended up winning those states by 1.06%. So the polls were skewed. And I say skewed not in a, derogatory sense, but they were just wrong. Interestingly enough, they were all wrong, with the exception of Georgia, in the direction of Biden by 2.86%. What do the polls show now? August 15th, 2024. Trump is actually leading in 3 of the 5 swing states. Arizona, he's up 0.8. Georgia, he's up 0.6. Pennsylvania, he's up 0.2. Now, this is the Real Clear polling average of polls. Harris is up 1.2 in Wisconsin and 2.4 in Michigan. Averaging all those together, Harris has a lead in the 5 swing states of 0.4%. Doesn't exactly sound like she's running away with this election, does it? Now, if you apply the same pro-Democrat poll bias, and again, this is not necessarily an intentional bias, it's just polling favors Democrats in August. If you apply that same 2.86% pro-Democrat polling bias that Biden got in 2020, Trump is actually leading in those 5 swing states by 2.46%. Now, polls are just a snapshot in time, and as we know, they can be wildly inaccurate. They are, however, some of the best data that we have. Averaging them out provides an even clearer picture of where this race is. Understanding the past performance of polls, I think, gives you the clearest picture. I do still believe, folks, that Trump is leading in this race. It's not a hunch. It's based on the best available analysis of data that I can muster. That's not to say that a week, 2 weeks from now, remember, Harris is going to get a further bump. They're going to call this Democratic National Convention that starts on Monday the greatest celebration of freedom and democracy that this country has ever seen. So she's going to get another bump there. However, I still do believe that the fundamentals of this race do favor Donald Trump. I know people are going to disagree. People are going to say, Dan, you are just whistling past the graveyard. This is something that, All right. I want to tell you about a very cool event that the Republican Women of Greater Milwaukee are putting on. It's called the Red Stampede. It's going on Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. There are going to be speakers. There are going to be all sorts of things, food trucks, admission. It's going to be a great time. I unfortunately, oh wait, there it is. Okay. I was having trouble pulling up the flyer because Yeah, it's at Croatian Eagles Field. It's at the soccer field. Great place. It's 76th Street in Franklin. Yeah. $10 per person. It's a family-friendly event. Republican candidate meet and greet. Children under 12 are free. Beer, soda, and water are included with admission. So you want to go, you want to drink with some Republicans, have at it. It's going to be tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. I would love to be there myself. In fact, they asked if I would MC it, and normally I would have said yes. I unfortunately will be in London then. There are going to be a food truck. There's going to be games, all sorts of fun stuff. It's going to be put on by a great organization, the Republican Women of Greater Milwaukee. Confirmed speakers: Brian Stile, Eric Hovde, Brian Schimming, many, many more. So if you're not doing anything, and then what are we all doing on Sunday? Storming the beaches, right? It is the Pizza to the Polls event, which is totally not election bribery. And because it's not, I want members of my audience, Dan Nation, to show up. They're going to be at Bradford Beach starting at noon, then McKinley Beach. We'll post details on my social media. I just want you to show up and start talking to people who show up to get pizza to go to the polls about Donald Trump, about Republicans, about how Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have utterly failed this country. Don't be mean. Don't be rude. Don't be aggressive. Be friendly. But show up. Dan O'Donnell Show back tomorrow with the Friday edition, 9:06, as always.